it's not like you have to learn how to ride, Linnea. You know how to ride. But what you need to learn how to do is be a little more assertive, which means you need to be clearer about what you want now. Because I haven't taught you that much, but we're picking a theme here. And I think the theme is you tend to be a little bit like, I wonder what this is all about. What do you want, right? It's more important that you tell the horse what you want than what you don't want, but it is kind of important that you disagree with things sometimes. Right?
Right.
You're
I'm
a
not getting
teacher,
what I
for
want.
God's sake.
Right.
Tap into that skill. This horse doesn't know what you want. Even the smartest horse in the world, they need direction. They need to be told what to do. Now, the lesson that you learned today, aside from that little thing, right, is you've got to be a little bit more forward in the riding because she's not that happy in that slower place. Okay? So that makes everything easier is if you find her natural rhythm, which is pretty nice big trot, which is great. Okay? And then the clarity of purpose goes hand in hand with whenever you feel that you're in trouble, go to, in your head, clarify in your mind what you want. Don't start letting your brain go into what you don't want, right? You can say no, but you're not allowed to dwell on no. No is no. And then the other little piece of it was, there was one more little piece that I wanted you to take home today. What the hell was it? No, see, all that is important, but it's not as important as you sort of being clear, making good decisions, like when you ran her into the wall there, right?
Yeah.
It's better for you to go out for 5 minutes and work on your dressage in that sort of authoritative way and get it done and go for a hack than it is to spend an hour sort of dicking around, never quite getting anything done. You know what I mean? I understand how hard it is for people. I miss you so much. I feel like I've screwed up badly here. Should have hooked you up with a different one. I know how hard it is when people have ridden a long time and like they come to me for lessons. You know, one of the first messages they get is, you have to take a lot more responsibility for the second by second riding. I now know what the other point that I wanted to make is, when it gets hard, when things get difficult, like if she gets a little strong, this is how I think of it, okay? It's what I call the point of resistance. The point of resistance is simply the place in the riding where you can pretty much guarantee things are going to get hard, right? The horse is either going to get strong or slow down or get naughty. I mean, they all have their places, right? The point of resistance is, in my thought process, the place where the training starts. Okay? So when I have a situation, and I obviously try to avoid anything that scares me, because as a professional horse trainer, I can't afford to get hurt or scared. Okay? So I'm actually really cautious, because I'm aware of that. And I'm not the bravest rider that God ever put in this earth. So the point of resistance is simply the place where the training starts. And if I don't feel like I have the tools today to fix that, I work on the tools, not the thing, right? So that there will come a day where whatever that is with that horse, I can say, okay, we're done with this. But with any given horse at any given time, you're always going to find those places that you know it's going to be hard for the horse, right? And you don't need to go, what most people do is they either avoid that place entirely and never go there again, which means it's probably never going to go away. Or they go to that place and they're like, see, this is the bad place. I hate this place. This is where we always are. We hate this place. This is a horrible place. We're living here. This is the place we are. And, you know, if you say to them, literally, I'll say to them, why don't you try to get to the other side of that place? There's a much better place there. Go to it, but then go to the other side. They can usually fix that in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? But they don't think of doing that. They think of living in that place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know, you kind of have to be like, okay, this is a difficult place. I don't like it when she's strong. You just did it. The minute I said it to you before, you were like, oh, I can ask her to be softer, and I can experiment with whether I'm getting too hard in that moment, too, because that happens, too, right?
Right, and that's one great thing about the pattern, because if I am getting too strong, it breaks it up.
Exactly. like I ride with Kathy Conley, and boy do I get in trouble for petting my horse. Every time, because I do it all the time, and it's hard for me to pretend I don't. And so I'm always busted. But what I tell my students is, I rode for years with a trainer who would never let me pat my horse. And that wasn't Kathy, and it's a totally different type of riding. But what happens is, you're going to err on one side or the other. You're either going to be too tight in your hand, in the connection, we're talking about you now, or you're going to be too vague, right? It's very hard to be perfect, okay? So if you're going to make a mistake, you don't want to be vague and you don't want to be there too much. If you give the rein every few seconds or every minute and pet the horse, if you're too strong, they can still breathe, swallow, let the circulation back in their tongue, give you some information by the way they react to that release. So even though it's not the most ideal thing in the world, to me, it's a great way to not get into trouble. Whereas if you're sort of like, I'm never going to pet the horse because that changes the connection and I don't want to do that, if there's something about that connection that's really not working for the horse, at some point they're going to nail your ass for it. You're going to have tongue sticking out, or you're going to have the horse standing on his hind legs. I've just seen too much of that with some of my colleagues, and I just don't like to go there. It's not. I just figured, you know what, they'll learn to stay connected. I'm not talking about petting them every 3 seconds. I'm just talking about a reward or a exploratory release. Any questions? So I want to see you again soon, I hope. Yeah, perfect. Because it would be good to make sure you guys get this. This is huge, and she's lovely. She's lovely.